I want to introduce the Minister of National Education and Research, Professor Adrian Curaj.
Good morning, Your Excellencies, dear colleagues, students. Really, it's a great honor for me to be here today with you. And I will start from the two topics in today's conference, universities and cultural diplomacy. And of course, universities and higher education, yes, of course. And I will come later on in my speech put some color on this. And about the second point, it's about cultural diplomacy, but I would prefer to have a larger umbrella of soft power. And why? Because I am coming from I am the Minister of Education and Science, but my core professional development and life is around science, and I was pretty deep involved in science diplomacy. And from this perspective, I want to make some connections and also to let students later on to talk and to debate on this. Some similarities or maybe not similarities between science diplomacy and cultural diplomacy. When we talk about science diplomacy, actually we are talking first on science in diplomacy. And when we talk about science in diplomacy, it's about science providing advice and informing, supporting foreign policies objectives. Definitely culture in diplomacy, it's also very much important. And it became more and more important, and it is more important in the today fast-moving world. And the second point, when we talk about science diplomacy, we talk about diplomacy for science. I think for this point I will leave students to talk more about, because I think there are a lot of debates how much and in what are the ways diplomacy could help diplomacy could help culture. It's a debatable, but of course diplomacy could help. I think it's a nice debate here. And science for diplomacy, culture for diplomacy, and if we talk about scientific cooperation and the help of scientific cooperation in international relations, a long-term scientific cooperation and impact on international relations, I think now, if we talk about culture for diplomacy, we have to see first the huge value and role played by non-public, non-governmental players in this game. But also, I think culture with the huge umbrella of diversity, of different way of expressing the values. Definitely the culture could help a lot the diplomacy. Again, I will link a little bit science, what is happening in science and what is happening in culture, and the linkages with diplomacy. And I will quote here one of the UK Foreign Secretary: the scientific world is fast becoming interdisciplinarity, but the biggest interdisciplinarity leap needed is to connect the world of science and politics. And if you allow me, the biggest leap needed is to be better prepared from the point of view of cultural diplomacy, to be better prepared to understand and use the power, of course soft power, of cultural diplomacy for oiling and fostering cooperation in business, education, in many different areas, in what I like to call in a globalized world, but also in a real-time, fast-moving world. because there are a lot of challenges not be possible to be approached in a way we used to approach them. Real time became and is part of what is happening now in the world. And I am confident culture could help a lot, and cultural diplomacy could be a soft, very nice, beautiful key for a lot of let's say, problems, and many times only issues. We make them problems also in the way we react. Of course, local, national, regional, meta-regional, global, we need and value more and more the two-way exchange. What means the two-way exchange in the way of mutual understanding each other's? And I think the mutual understanding of each other's is a key also because of the, what I like to call future of lifestyle. People are moving fast. People have to be connected and immersed in a diversity of different worlds with their values, with their cultural nets and ingredients. And again, the cultural diplomacy and the way universities could help in this direction in preparing and working with students, in educating the next generation, but also asking the students to go deep in researching different subjects to make us less exposed to this complex and difficult world. Of course, if we talk about cultural diplomacy and different ingredients, we all agree there are unusual aspects of diplomacy, because unusual, I put in brackets, actually the role of the state is less important compared with the business, with non-governmental organization, with diaspora role in becoming vectors of culture and values from the country they are coming, they born in. And from this perspective, Romania has some good experiences. And just last week, we organized a conference we used to organize since 2008, Diaspora in Higher Education and Scientific Research. And we managed to bring together almost 900 persons, Romanians from all around, talking about the way we cooperate in this fast-moving world, not asking them to be back, but asking to be part of this circulation of elites. Because, of course, we used to say brain circulation, but I would like very much to talk when we talk about diaspora in higher education and research circulation of elites. And plus on this, when we talk about diaspora, we also put a lot of emphasis on how to work with those not being diaspora, but being diaspora 2.0, as I like to call, those studying in Romania, not being Romanians, but now being ambassador of Romania in the country they are living, in country of origin. And we hardly try to see if we may map, discover, and use their power, soft power, of spending years, nice beautiful years in Romania and now working in their countries or in different other countries. There are good examples and nice examples of extended cultural diplomacy from my point of view. Also, a good example is also the portal of study in Romania, presenting our educational offer to the world. And not only educational offer, higher education offer, because it is part of the game, and we talk about, if we talk about cultural diplomacy, first it's about presenting the higher education opportunities, but also it's important to present as a package the way the education, but also the beauties of Romania and the value of living in Romania, but also the way you may work in Romania. So it's a nice invitation for the students to come here and to stay here with us. You may easily see the roots I have, science and innovation, higher education, most of my activity in research. And I will be very glad to end my intervention saying I would like to see science diplomacy and what you are doing as a nice, beautiful living lab of preparing people for tolerance and cooperation. I wish you all the best for the rest of the conference. Thank you.